Hi, my name's Marysia Do. Please subscribe to my channel. It's just my name, Marysia space Do. Today we're going to practice the transition from crow pose to headstand and back into crow pose. All right, we'll start in a cross-legged position. And then once you get yourself seated, you'll actually switch the crossing of the legs so the hips open up a little bit differently than they normally would. Place your hands on your knees and apply a little bit of pressure there. Feel the center of the chest kind of coil up in rebound of that energy. Keep the chest lifted. Turn the palms to face up. Close your eyes and take the first few moments to observe your breath. And as you sit here, if you find yourself wondering what to do with your breath, do your best to let go of that thought and instead practice passively witnessing the air flow through your body. And if your mind wanders, every time you catch it, gently shift the attention back to your breath. And as we move through the practice, do your best. If you notice at any moment you get a little emotional about your practice or even overexcited, to take a breath and give yourself a little bit of spiritual distance. Notice what's going on in your mind, what's going on in your body, and you don't even need to have a call to action. Just trust that in gaining a little bit more insight, the answers will reveal themselves. Watch your breath. See how it naturally flows. Notice if the center of your chest started to collapse. Lift the center of the chest and feel how that lightness in the chest affects your energy. Bring your hands to heart center. Open your eyes. And from this position, take your fingertips forward. And here, to open up the hips a little bit more, resist a rounding in the low back. Instead, think of sending the buttocks straight back. Maybe you add a little back bend toward the chest. And if it's possible, you can lower further, maybe toward your forearms. If you notice coming toward your forearms causes your hamstrings to contract more and that rounding to happen in your back, then lift up. Continue to send the hips back. And then lift yourself up. Take your fingertips behind you and switch the crossing of the legs. A little counter stretch. Lift the center of the chest up as you push the floor away from you. And release. Take your hands forward and make your way into down dog. In your down dog, you can do whatever fidgets feel necessary to help you get a little bit more comfortable with stillness. I like to rock my hips side to side. My shoulders tend to pop. Relax your head and neck as you move into stillness. Push the floor away and feel the belly draw back as your hips reach further back. And warming up the body, inhale, plank pose. Feel the palms push down to lift the center of the chest up, so we're not sinking down into the wrists, we're pushing the floor away. Feel, rather than doing the more restorative variation of plank with the natural curve in the low back, the front of the pelvis is pulling toward your rib cage, like you would in an arm balance or an inversion. And the knees can be up or down. Chest moves beyond the fingertips. Bend your elbows and keep the elbows hugging in. The shoulders stay lifted above the elbows for now. And then strong exhale, press up. Back to down dog. 2 more like that. Inhale forward. Keep the upper belly pressing back so the shoulders don't lift off the back as you lower toward your chaturanga. If you can take it lower, great. If not, that's great too. Press back up. Down dog. Last one. Lower, linger, and then we'll lay down. Counter stretch. Take the hands forward. And then from this position, press the palms down, the elbows down, lift the center of the chest up. And press the tops of the feet down and feel the belly engage. Keep the belly engaged and pull the shoulders back a little bit more. And lower. Up dog. And down dog. Draw the right knee into the chest. And step the foot forward. Crescent pose. Inhale. Exhale, warrior 2. Inhale, reverse. Exhale, side angle. In this position, you want to feel that you're starting to open up the hip on the right side there. If you can, over time, perhaps you lower toward the fingertips. So this action, stay in the pose, but it's going to help bring the thigh closer to the shoulder in your crow pose. Warrior 2. And vinyasa. Draw the left knee into the chest. Step the foot forward. Inhale, lift. Warrior 2. Reverse. Side angle. So here, we're lingering. And then over time, make your way toward the fingertips on the floor. Maybe you pause on a block. Think of that left hip drawing back as the chest reaches forward. Inhale takes you up. And vinyasa. Look forward between your palms, and on an exhale, step or hop the feet forward. Heels in, toes out, malasana. So for me, I have to have my heels in and toes out. My hips just don't really help me out when I want to point my toes forward. But if that's in your practice, awesome, go for it. In this position, try not to round your back so much. Lift the center of the chest. And then from this position, take your right arm down and try to slide that right shoulder closer to the knee. And then once you get into your tightest position, lean the chest back. Think of that left knee moving to the back body. And come through center. Second side. So the palm comes down, the arm reaches. And then here, the right knee continues to move back, and you want, once again, that shoulder to be really tight in there, close to the knee. And then release here. All right, lay back. We're going to do a little core work to get the belly fired up. So you'll lay down, and you're going to bring your hands behind your head, lift the head and chest up, and then draw the knees to the triceps and hug the heels in. Reach the arms up. So you're like in an upside down crow here. Pull the knees in tighter. If your neck is sensitive, then you could bring your hands back. Inhale, extend the legs up. Exhale, draw them in. Lift the hips really high. Inhale, extend the legs 45 degrees. And in this position, try not to have your back curl off the mat. Instead, round the back. Lift the chest higher. and then draw the knees in. Try to keep the hips high. They will inevitably drop, but resist that as you extend the legs forward. Chest up, and draw the knees in. One more round like that, up, and in. Inhale, 45, and in. Inhale, hover, linger, chest up, belly down, hips up, and in. Rock back and forth. And come to a position where you're squatting down with your feet together. All right? And then from here, you can take your palms down and you'll work your knees higher up the triceps. All right? Those of you who are newer to crow pose, you can have more of the inner thigh, inner calf resting on the arm, and then the chest reaches forward. Maybe one toe, maybe two toes lift. But I can't emphasize that action enough. Chest forward, chest forward. We're not sinking down into the pose. The position we end up in is with the elbows more stacked over the wrists. It's very common to bend the elbows backward. There's no way I'm going to get my butt off the floor with my elbows bending backward. Chest forward, chest forward, chest forward. You want to think of a horizontal reach of energy. Those of you who have been at this a while, perhaps you practice with the knees on the tricep. So there'll be a point where there's a little bit of a gap between where the muscles meet, and that's where your knee's going to want to land, and then it will slide down into place. Chest forward, maybe one, maybe two toes up. If you're someone where these actions, the over-analysis, kind of hinders the ease with which you move, you can practice rocking into the pose. If that's scary for you, build a crash pad. Just make a bunch of pillows, get ready to fall, and if you do, get right back up there and fall again. Another nice way to practice when we're newer is to have a wall for the crown of the head to meet to encourage that chest forward action. So if you imagine there was a wall forward of me, I would hit the wall, lift my toes, and then there's a practice of subtly moving the hips back. So coming from this position here and moving back just slightly. Moving toward the headstand, if you're in the more round crow, you're going to flatten out toward the more juvenile crow. From this position, my head is closer to the floor and can come down without jarring my neck. And then butt up, and I lift. Okay, coming back into the crow pose, and we'll talk more about headstand in a moment. We're going to keep the toes up as I pull the knees in. The toes up counter the hips from dropping. And as I lower my hips, my chest reaches forward, my head reaches forward. You can even practice kind of smearing your nose on the floor as you reach forward, and then push the floor away, whoosh, and round the back to get in there. Important notes for your headstand is we want to keep the neck nice and long when we're practicing. Oftentimes when we're coming into it, what can happen is the shoulders round. So you want to push the floor away with the hands and feel the muscles of the base of the neck lift. Additionally, we're making a triangle shape between the head and the hands. And we want to make sure to keep the neck safe that we're same way upside down as we are upright. So the top of the head is on the floor. So rather than coming down, forehead down, top of the head. Shoulders lift, and again, my hands are not in line with my head. They're further back. Knees up. Maybe you practice instead of from the full headstand, just this eggshell shape. And you can practice lowering the hips, and you notice my knees kind of sink to the sides. That makes it easier. And then I roll, chest forward, chest forward, chest forward, and round. Got it? Perfect. All right. And now go ahead, take a child's pose, catch your breath. And notice if while you're in your child's pose, the mind starts running around. If you succeeded, feelings of excitement. If you are still in process, feelings of frustration, and simply give yourself permission to feel what you feel, knowing that whatever it is, it's going to shift eventually. So you might as well just enjoy this human experience. And then come back up to a Virasana shape. One more time, stretching out the shoulders. Take your hands behind you, press the floor away, and lift the chest. And release. Shavasana. Take your next inhale deeper. And exhale out your mouth. Reach the fingers overhead. Extend through the toes. Draw the knees into your chest and roll to the right. And make your way to a seated position. And you can cross your legs the usual way. And close your eyes. One thing that makes yoga a little bit unique as a physical exercise is the active practice of noticing where our mind goes and how those thoughts affect our energy. And also, of course, where the body goes and how those actions affect our energy. And that practice of being a witness or an observer of our experience without feeling the need to control or change things straight away gives us the opportunity to gain insights. And those insights plant unconscious seeds for transformation. So if you're feeling stuck, just continue to watch and trust that in time, things will shift. Bring your hands to heart center. Namaste.